2 microphones in front. So if you have any questions for our good governor,
San TV station?
sa solar po, sagot sa ANC. Thank you, Gov. So again, if you have questions for our good
May
governor,
question? Wala? Oy, thank you.
we have 2 microphones. Kasi masarap pag-usapan ng solusyon, like what you said earlier, Gov. So, kung may mga tanong kayo, please feel free to approach the mic. Okay.
Wala. Thank you.
Wala,
You're so-
Gov. Thank you, Gov. Thank you very much, Governor Joy Salceda. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon ulit. The realization of all plans depends highly on the availability of funds. We must know how to be creative in funding climate change actions. Sometimes, for a problem to be solved, you always need to think outside the box. You need to see a bigger perspective and make use of what is available. Kailangan maging creative tayo. Being creative is one thing, but knowing what is available also helps. To be honest, we have various lists of internal and external funding sources that can help us in financing our climate change adaptation actions. We just need to know what and where we can find these pots of gold so we can tap them. Now, to let us in on finding these pots of gold, I'd like to call on Secretary Lucille Sering of the Climate Change Commission to share with us the available financing resources for the climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction actions.
Starts with me. I wanna be whatever it takes to show that I care more than myself.
Magandang hapon ulit. Ang hirap sundan po ni Governor Joey. Pero sabi ko sa kanya, Gov, bring the house down. Sumobra pa sa bring the house down. Okay pa ba tayo? So, di bale, I think, iiksian ko, pero siguro substantive itong dapat nating pag-usapan kasi ang dami nating sinasabi, ang daming gagawin, kulang sa pera. Narinig natin kay Gov Joey, if you are really to sum yung buong mensahe niya, you cannot manage what you cannot measure. Kaya importanteng mag-report tayo ng mga damages kasi itong pag-address ng pagbabago ng klima or even our typhoons is not just about saving lives, although it is the primary reason. It is also about the economy. Nagiging yung economic implications ng mga bagyo, hindi naman nakakapture ng GDP, merong 1 to 2%, pero karamihan talaga ng damage are caused in the local level. Totoo yung sabi ni Gov Joey, no? I think 4 out of the 10 poorest provinces are located in the eastern seaboard. But if you look at the natural resources of these provinces, for example, if I will mention Surigao del Norte, in Caraga is the poorest region. Surigao del Norte is the third on the last list. I think we're getting down on that list. Pero its contribution to the regional is the highest. And yet, we're the third poorest. It's the way it's being computed na minsan hindi na iintindihan, lalo na doon sa local level. Kaya parang ang pakiramdam mo, mukhang wala, kulang talaga ang pera. Yung naririnig nyo na eco-town, yung sinabi ni Gov kanina, na yung pagpaplano based on risk-based, yan po yung eco-town. Eco-town is just an enhancing. Wala hong binabago dito, kundi dinadagdagan pa. Ecosystem-based. Kung anong meron ka, dun tayo mag-uumpisa. At dyan narinig natin na kahit anong sabihin natin, marami po kasi ako napansin. Marami ako narinig o nakukuhang mga sanggunian or barangay resolution asking for this and asking for that. Ang una kong tinatanong, anong basihan, bakit kailangan mo ng ganito? Yun ang gusto nating gawin na pagpaplano ngayon, yung risk-based. Kasi hindi na lingho taking out your community that's an risk way, but really, how you were able to recover financially. Kasi nakikita natin, yung resiliency really, starts on the capacity of local government to respond right away. The longer you're able to respond, the more poorer you get. And we saw that in the numbers that Gov. Joey showed us. At karamihan sa ating mga local governments, hindi naman natin nakikita yung mga ganitong pananaw. Siguro sa inyo, marami pa rin siguro, baka it's a question, marami pa rin sa inyo na ang iba yung pananaw na ang pagtugon talaga sa mga bagyo is really an economic response as well. So let me start on how we're doing it. Yung land use plan na sinasabi ni Gov. Joey. At saan natin kukunin yung mga pondo na to na meron na pala. Saan tinututok? Okay. 2011, lumabas yung listahan. Ang Pilipinas daw ay isa sa rank number 6 na nga ito. No? This is just a 2011 result. Kinukuha ko tong vulnerability index kasi ang gumawa nito is a Mayful Crop Insurance Company. Perspective niya yung investment. May ibang listahan na number 3 ang Pilipinas. Ang perspective nun, dahil yung number of risk and number people exposed to risk. Ito ang exposure sa negosyo. Ang Manila, pumapangalawa sa buong mundo. Sumunod lang sa Dhaka, Bangladesh. Alam naman natin na mas mayaman ang Pilipinas kaysa Dhaka, Bangladesh. Pero isang syudad sa atin nagsasabi, Manila specifically, is second most vulnerable to climate change and one of the most vulnerable to storm surge kasi ang dahilan, madaming tao, weak infrastructure, at maraming ang risk. So, from this list, ito yung tinangnan natin. Lumabas to ng 2011. Bakit nabuo yung Climate Change Commission? Noong 2009. Pinirmahan at the end of the year of 2009, itong batas na Climate Change Act dahil sa dalawang bagyo. Alam nating marami ng bagyo sa Pilipinas. Ako bilang sa Surigao, ang experience ko po hanggang ngayon di ko malilimutan yung typhoon ni Tang. Na kung saan 1,500 plus ang namatay, that was in 1984. Sabihin na natin konti siya kung ikumpara sa Yolanda. Pero yung 1984, ilang lang naman ang tao doon kumpara ngayon. Ang vulnerable po talaga sa ating bansa, kung titingnan mo kung alin, ay yung mga urban areas. Kasi po, nung una nating ginawa yung eco-town, ito yung mga na-observe namin. At sasabihin ko sa inyo yan mamaya. An eco-town framework is really a planning tool for you to come up with menu. Para tayong restaurant. Gusto namin magkaroon kayo ng menu. Para kung humingi man kayo at sa tingin nyo hindi nyo kayang punduhan ng sarili nilong budget, dun kayo maghahanap kung sino at saan nyo pwedeng hingin. May national government, may private sector, may bilateral international agencies. Marami ho yan silang lahat. Ang pinakamagandang tulong na pwede niyong magawa, lalo na sa mga taong merong pondo, ay kung ikaw mismo ang magsasabi, alam mo, plinano ko to, ito yung hazard ko, ito yung gusto kong kitain, hindi ka pwedeng magnegosyo dyan kasi delikado, pwede ka dito magnegosyo. Kung ako negosyante, gusto ko bang mag-invest sa isang lugar kung patuloy kong sinasabi, vulnerable ako? Hanggang kailan lang makakarating ang grant? Gusto ko na pag ako nagnegosyo, yung lugar na napagnenegosyohan ko ay sasabihin sa akin kung saan pwede at hindi pwede. Dito papasok sa Ecotown Framework ang pagpaplano based on your vulnerability at dito, this is an investment area. So what happened in 2009 is this. It happened in Metro Manila. Wala nga masyadong namatay. Pero yung cost ng damage sobrang laki dahil indito yung economic center. Nakita ka agad, visually, napakatindi ng devastation ng dalawang bagyo na yon. Hindi pa nga nakakaalis si Ondoy, eto na si Pepeng. Masyado naman huyatang hospitable ang Pilipinas na hindi pa nakakalabas yung isa, ayan na naman yung isa. Nangyari din ito sa Yolanda. Kalalabas lang ni Yolanda, mga ilang-ilang araw lang dumating si Zoraida. Naubos na po ang alpabetiko natin ngayon taon. When or only visited 19 to 20 typhoons in a year, ang Yolanda po ay number 24, Zoraida was 25. So yan, tanggap ko na ganyan yung bagyo. Titingnan mo yung statistics. Kung yun ang pag-iisip mo, vulnerable ka, paano ko ba tugunan yung vulnerability ko? Sabi nga ni Gob, hindi ko naman maaalis yung Mayon Volcano, Lucille eh. Ang tao pwede kong alisin. Nakita natin kung kano naging model ang Albay. So nakita natin paano ba natin tulungan ang mga hindi kasing capacitated ng Albay. Iba yung pumunta ka sa Albay at matuto, iba rin yung nandun ka sa lugar mo at dun mo matutunan. Kasi nakakita kami ng example, totoo ito. Isang bayan, isang mga mayors pumunta ng Albay para mag-training ng disaster planning, risk-based planning. Pag-uwi sa kanila, nag-stay naman sa Albay, 3 araw, mukha namang nakinig. May mga certificate of appearance pa nga. Pag-uwi, pagtingin sa land use plan, may mga Mayon Volcano na ang kanilang lugar. Nalintikan na. Imbis isang Mayon Volcano lang ang meron tayo, naging 2, 3 na. Nangopya lang ho. Kasi yan na pumapasok yung capacity. Dahil sa totoo lang, if you're a 4th, 5th, 6th class municipality, I don't think you can afford technical expertise such as this. Siguro dito dapat din kami sa National Government Agency maging sensitive sa needs ng ating mga local government. Hindi nga naman pwedeng i-post mo lang sa website at hindi mo ipapaintindi dun sa baba kung anong ibig sabihin nun. Hindi porket nag-post kami sa website, excuse na kami sa responsibilidad na kailangan maintindihan at akuin or ownership nung mapa na yon. I will just to control 2009 because the cause of damage created that mindset. Nako, kung patuloy nga naman na ganito kalaki ang gagastusin ko, baka naman sayang. Because this money used for rehabilitation and reconstruction is money taken away from your basic services such as health and education. So in 2009, we have to come up with a National Climate Change Action Plan. I cannot not explain it today, although it's not part of the format of the program, to put into context why the eco-town are just one of the framework that you need to undergo so that we can be able to do a risk-make mapping. Pag nakuha nyo na po ito, bahala na kayo kung tatawagin nyo siyang eco-town, kung anong tawag nyo. Pwede nyong angkanin, pangalanan nyo. Basta tingnan nyo lang po kung saan tayo pwedeng gamitin itong mga tools na ito. So we did food security, water sufficiency, human security. Kung papansinin nyo po yung pagpaplano na National Climate Change Action Plan, kakaiba. Hindi naman ho kasi ako talaga planner. I'm a lawyer by profession. So the first thing I needed to have answers on are the things that I don't understand. We are used to planning sectorally. But we know that climate change does not affect one sector anymore. It has a cross-sectoral implication. It impacts health, education, agriculture, infrastructure, na mahirap magsabi, ang vulnerability ng agriculture ko ganito lang. Kaya ang tendency, paano ko magaling yung secretary ko sa agriculture at yung isa hindi? Eh kung magkakakabit-kabit lang yan. So what we did is we created an eco-town framework factoring in a ridge-to-reef approach kung saan lahat po ng ehensya doon sa regional level ay sama-sama sa pagpaplano. Napili po ng Pangulo yung mga pilot beneficiaries natin kung saan nakalocate sa Eastern Seaboard. Napili po yung Surigao del Norte at nagpapasalamat kami kay Governor Sol Matugas na nandirito na buong puso naman po niyang tinanggap at tingnan kung ano itong bagong pananaw sa pagpaplano. Napili po namin ang San Vicente dahil yung aming partner na mga Koreano gustong tingnan yung San Vicente. At napili po din ng ibang lugar tulad ng Eastern Samar kung saan papunta na sana kami sa Giwan at naabutan yung 2 kong staff sa Tacloban, nabuti na lang po ay sa kabutihang palad, tama ba yung Tagalog na yon, ay hindi nakaligtas sa Yolanda. So gano'n na lang din po kami ka-passionate dito kasi hindi na ho teorya sa amin. Ako hindi ho teorya sa akin to. Dahil hindi na ako victim, survivor na ako. At ganun din si Governor Joey. So paano namin binuo to? Meron kang vulnerability, alam mo yung vulnerability mo, plinano mo based sa vulnerability mo, kaya ang titingnan mo ay food security. Hindi lang DA yan, pati DAR. Titingnan mo rin yung water sufficiency. Kasi alam niyo po ba na halos 30 ahensya ng gobyerno ang namumuno ng tubig sa Pilipinas. Kaya naging problema yung release ng dam protocol, naging problema yung mga ibang water-related responses kasi iba-ibang sangay na gobyerno ang tumutugon dyan. So sa water sufficiency, ang nangyari po dito, naging DPWH na po ang nangunguna, kaya si Secretary Sigson ang tinawag na water share. Dito po yung ecosystem and environmental stability. Inuna po namin yung mga lugar kung saan maganda ang kanilang ecotourism, pero lumalabas na kailangan pa rin ng tulong, lalo na dahil parang lumalabas na pag protected area ka, tulad ng Siargao Island, baka sabi nila, wala ka nang pwedeng gawin. Dahil bawal ka magmina, bawal ka ng mga quarrying, bawal ka ng mga kung ano-anong bawal. Pero actually, ang hindi natin naiintindihan, tong lahat ng mga kabawalan na ito are actually translated na meron palang kaukulan na resources. So we did this. So tiningnan na namin yung plano. Ang next stage ay, paano ba gumagastos ang gobyerno mula noong 2008? Nakita namin na since 2008 to 2012, nag-increase ang budget sa climate change adaptation by 26%. Much faster than the national budget increase of only 6%. Ang tanong, saan napunta? Saan napunta? Titingnan nyo yung blue, adaptation. Titingnan nyo yung mitigation, yung orange, dahil ito yung sa inutang natin, at yung green po ay yung both adaptation mitigation. So saan nga naban? Ang tendency kasi natin, gusto ko makita nakatayo. Masaya ako nung nakita ko yung resulta, but only to realize that yung palang gastos natin na tumaas ay dahil dun sa reconstruction tsaka rehabilitation. Karamihan po ng gastos na national government is on flood control program. My question there is, sure it has increased, it will save lives, will it save also your businesses? We now need to be able to influence even the way we plan and spend money to make sure that I don't just recover from the trauma, but I also that my businesses will also be able to recover and that they will continue to go back and invest. Kasi po, sa atin, sa mga lugar natin, kaya naging masyadong mapolitika kasi ang local government or yung government mismo, ang pinaka-highest employer. Ang contribution halos ng private sector, o onti lang. Kaya gusto nating dumami sila ng dumami para marami kayong revenue. Ito ang ginawa ni Governor Salceda being an economist. Talagang pinakita niya sa mga investor na pwede kayong mag-invest dito kahit ganong kadaming disaster dito. Kasi pinakita niya na planado. Alam niya kung saan ka pwedeng magnegosyo. So yung perspective na yon, the local government should be your own salesman. You should be your own salesman. That if you invite investment there, it's because you will be able to bring not only the money and more jobs there. And that way, you increase or you reduce your poverty incidence. Ang tama po si Governor Salceda dun sa poverty incidence. Wala isa dito sa inyo ang magsasabing hindi totoo yan. Lahat ng binabagyo, automatic pag tumama, tataas ang poverty incidence. Ilang buwan hindi nakakapagtrabaho, ang iba halos wala na makuhang trabaho. So dito na pumasok yung eco-town components, natural resource assessment. Tulad po na nakita namin sa ilan sa mga pilot areas namin. Kinumpute namin yung mangrove. Based on the computation na pag hindi mo siya pinutol, anong benefit? At pag pinutol mo siya, anong benefit? For example, in Del Carmen, we saw that because the local community has no other livelihood, mahirap po yung Del Carmen na lugar. At isa sa mga speakers natin nagsasalita. Only in income. Pero, alimango, kayang kainin anytime. Lobster, lapu-lapu, kayang kainin anytime. Pero in terms of income, wala. At kung ano bang alternative ang pwedeng ibigay dun sa lugar, kasi ang pagputol ng mangrove libre. Kung pipigilan mo ng hindi pagputol, anong kapalit? Yun po yung tinitingnan lagi sa natural resource assessment. You will look at your forest, nakita namin that yung investment sa agriculture ng national and the local level at kinumpute yung income from that investment, lugi pa. Kasi walang ganung pananaw. Na dapat pala, pag nag-invest ka dyan ng budget mo, dapat may makikita kang increase in your revenue. When we did this, we did the vulnerability assessment. Dito na po pumasok yung risk mapping. Meron kayong geohazard. Meron kayong multi-hazard maps. Pero yan ay pagpaplano base sa kahapon. Ang climate change rainfall scenario is based on a 2020-2050 scenario. Ibig pong sabihin, ang dating ganitong baha, kung pupunta na ang climate change o mangyayari na, ay maaaring hanggang bewang na. So, ibig sabihin ng pagpaplano is already looking forward. Most of your disaster plans are based on yesterday's events. Is that true? So, this is why we want to be forward-looking. We want to bring in these tools kasi meron na po. And this is what we did in Siargao and in other areas. And also, hopefully all of you will also be our beneficiaries. I mean, all of you should be. Kaya after dito, mag-uusap-usap po tayo. Next is environmental natural accounting. You cannot manage what you cannot measure. Bakit nga naman ako mag-i-invest dyan? Wala naman ako nakikitang kaukulan na balik. Hindi po totoo yan. Environmental natural resource accounting, for example, nagbibenta tayo ng ng power plant natin ng hydropower. Mindanao, mataas po ang ating riyayan sa hydropower. Alam nyo ba na magiging difficult ang hydropower by 2020 kung masusunod kasi ang Mindanao ay makakaranas ng mas matagal na tagtuyot. So, impact na naman kami sa electricity. Pero at the same time, yung mga binibenta nating hydropower plants, hindi natin kwinenta yung watershed na nagbibigay ng tubig. Kasi you did not do your environmental accounting. In short, we need to value this. So that if you do investment, for example, marami kayong mga ecotourism, if you want to invest there be some sort of revenue that goes back to the community. Kasi hindi naman ho tayo lahat pwede maging Metro Manila. So when we did this accounting, we got the numbers, then we now were able to identify our measures. Natapos na namin po sa Siargao at ibang lugar yung adaptation measures. Because natapos na yung menu of activities, alam na nila kung saan nila kailangan yung pera, alam na nila kung saan nila ilalagay, at mamaya ikikwento yan ni JR. Yung next step na po natin, after identification, is anong suporta ang kailangan mo. Kailangan mo ng agriculture support dahil yung irrigation mo mahina, we will help and endorse it to the DA. You think that your planting trees should be not in these areas kasi pagkatapos ng isang taon, nawawash out then let's put them somewhere where it will survive. So nagkaroon ng parang structured yung pagpaplano. And lastly, these are the finance schemes. The finance scheme will now be an input to your plans. Ayaw na ho namin humingi ng bagong plano sa inyo. Alam na ho namin kung gaano kahirap na maya't maya may plano na dumarating, hindi na i-implement. Kaya I plan, I act. Ini-integrate na lang po namin ito, ini-enhance your existing plans. Kaya ang pinapasok namin ay planning officer, development planning, so that all of this will be put into place. Bakit po? We need to invite sustainable financing. Private sector, marami ho sa inyo nagma-microfinance. Lahat ho sila nagtatanong, saan pa ba ako pwedeng magpautang? Eh kung magpapautang ako dito, mamaya't bagyuhin. So you have to be able to help your community access private financing dahil hindi na ho kaya ng gobyerno ang laging nagbibigay ng pera. So when we did this is it. An example of a land use plan not well thought of. I'm sorry if it's you should not have allowed development in that area. This should be vacant. If we knew from the start of your risk, at kayo ang local na government, sa tingin mo papayagin mo patiharin yan? You will now pass ordinances. Even your developers will have to think twice on developing in these areas. if you have your risk map, how many people died in that area? Most of the deaths that were attributed to Sendong was located in this area. So this is where your planning, lalo na ho yung mga munisipyo dito, maganda ang posisyon nyo ngayon kasi hindi pa kayo ganun karami. We have to provide jobs in the rural area because the reason there's a lot of people in the urban area because of the rural to urban area migration. Kulang kasi ang trabaho sa munisipyo. Kulang ang trabaho sa rural area. Pero kung ako lang ho masusunod, mag-retire in 2 years from now, gusto ko na ho kasing tumira ulit sa Siargao. Yay! Masarap ho doon. Wala ho kaming libreng trip to Siargao. Libre ho kung sa senior citizen ka para maka-avail of 20%, pero wag na. Hindi ako kasing yaman ni Mayor Pai, anak ko siya ni Governor Alvarez, Pepito Alvarez. Siguro kilala nyo na yon. So kaya niya hong magpadala kahit ilan doon sa San Vicente. Baka magalit si Pai, mas maganda pa rin ang Siargao sa San Vicente. Yabangan na dito. Okay, so, this is our climate policies. As a policymaker, I feel frustrated kasi once you have your policy, plano na naman, gusto ko ng aksyon. So the way to do it, you really have to prove financing. So the People's Survival Fund was passed by the President last year. 3 of the commissioners already signed the IRR. This year, we will operationalize it. Kung sino po yung mga beneficiaries at kung meron na kayo na pwede nang pumusa under this, may mga adaptation action na kayo based on your vulnerability, makaka-access na pa kayo ng People's Survival Fund. Kung wala pa po kayong plano, pwede ko kayong mag-apply dito to provide you the technical expertise. Kung narinig nyo ho si Dr. Enrico Paringit, yung nakikita nyong mapang gumagalaw-galaw doon, we did it in 6 months sa tulong ng academe. Hindi na ho kami basta nagre-rely sa amin lang, mga national government. Yung academe po ng Xavier at ng Iligan, tinap namin. Kasi hindi naman nakaya ng gobyerno. Kasi sa kukonti na lang at napupunta na rin sa iba-ibang bansa at iba-ibang mga pribadong sektor, we have to be creative by trying to tap the expertise of our academe. And we're very successful in doing that. Nakita namin in 6 months, tapos na. Yan ang gusto nyo, di ba? Tapos kaagad. Nagkaroon na kaagad ng mapping na 3D, makita mo na kung saan babaha, nakita mo na kung anong intervention mo na kailangan pala dun sa upstream mo, dun mo dapat itanim o di kaya dun mo ilalagay yung infrastructure mo. So nagkaroon, at yung drainage system ng Cagayan de Oro, as it is can no longer accommodate this volume of water na change po nila. Natin yan dyan sa pananaw na yan. So this year, nag-set aside on government ng 500 million. The uses of the fund will primarily be local support. Local government units as well as other communities can access that. It also involved forecasting early warning system, preparedness for climate-related hazard. But I like what Governor Joey said, the land use planning. Kung dun tayo papasok, mas maganda, mas malinaw tingnan. These are courtesy of Commissioner Sanyo's slides. What are those adaptation activities? Anything that will help you financially, anything that will also involve increase in private investment, anything that will allow your community to earn is an adaptation strategy. In Siargao, after we did this study, we were able to invite several international companies. And Governor Sol, in the next few months, we will have an investment forum. Once we've done this in their development plan, doon na ho titingnan ng mga international partners, yung hindi nila pwedeng ponduhan, doon naman natin titingnan sa national government agencies, at baka naman pwede na rin natin gamitin yung mga local government funding ninyo kung meron. Kasi alam natin yung ira ninyo kung saan-saan na ginagaranti. Ginaranti sa Coliseum, ginaranti sa kung anong grandstand. So, ibahin natin yung ganang pananaw. Kung gusto nating walang kalaban for 5 straight election. Mahirap yata yun. Ito po, monitoring of diseases. We've seen how diseases have actually thrived even in summer seasons. Ang lamok po ay hindi dapat namamayani pag summer. Pero ngayon nakakakita na tayo ng incidents ng dengue kahit summer. Buti pa ho ang lamok nakapag-adapt na. Ang tao, hindi pa. So dapat siguro natin ibahin ang pananaw pagdating po dito. Institutional development for LGUs. In partnership, by the way, the Climate Change Commission is not just us. We're under the Office of the President. The President is the chair. All of these are in partnership with DNR, DA, DPWH. Lahat po sila kasama namin dito, kasama sa namin sa cluster. Ito po, risk insurance. If the Philippines was insured in Ondoy, we would not have to need another $4 billion for reconstruction. Yan ang nangyari sa Japan, in the Fukushima. Sa Fukushima, sorry. Ang bilis nila makarecover. Ang roads nila, napatag kaagad nila. Kasi insured. Mas mabili mo responde ang private sector kasi kasama sa kontrata. So you cannot rely all the time on government. We have to start thinking that at one point, the local government should respond right away and you have to be innovative in accessing din. Lahat yan, matagal nang nandyan yan. The Performance Challenge Fund, na ito rin ginamit mostly, I think, sa Eastern Samar. Then the bottom-up budgeting. Naniniwala ako, yung mga plano namin sa national agency, hindi lang dahil yun ang sa tingin naming tama. Dapat hinihingi yung mga regional plans, hinihingi yung mga provincial plans, at dun mo ibabudget yung hihingin mo for the next year. Kasi on top of your era, there are other needs of the local government. And we know that at the end of the day, kayo po ang mas nakakaalam kung anong kailangan nyo sa lugar nyo. At nandito lang ho ang national government to support. So ito po yung summary of local sources for climate financing in the Philippines. Marami na ho. We have a booth there. Kung meron kayong kailangan na information, we can give you. And if we don't have it available anymore, you can contact us. Our website is www.climate.gov.ph. Kung kanina si Maria Reza, maganda po yung ginawa niyang Project Agos, ma-appreciate po sana natin. Laking tulong po yun, Twitter, dahil lahat po ng ating population ngayon, lalo kami sa Surigao del Norte, is below 25. These are your next constituencies. They are the ones that could define any election. And you need to be able to talk and communicate with them through social media. But you just have to be patient kasi nagagamit din yung social media ng paninira sa ibang tao. Pero anyway, overall, nakakabuti naman siya. So yun lang po. Meron po tayong People Survival Fund, meron kayong IRA, at kung ano pang pwede nating itap, mamayang hapon po, may example tayo kung paano nakapag-leverage itong pagpaplano dun sa ibang suporta. At the same time, yung last po nating maririnig, yung private sector investments. And third po, yung international financing. Salamat po ulit sa inyong pagkikinig at magandang hapon po sa inyo.
Change starts with me. I wanna be whatever it takes to show that I care more than myself.
Maraming salamat, Secretary Siring. Ngayon naman, let's move on to an inspiring story of a local